This is Cross the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Doze. Eric is here riding shotgun today, and we are really happy, really proud to bring on the artist for Captain America and Volstagg #1, Mr. Bernard Chang. He is our guest today, and we're so excited to talk to him about this book that came out a few weeks back.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
We've been enjoying this idea of like J. Michael Straczynski getting to do these crazy little one shots of characters you wouldn't expect to really see together, and you got the first crack at it, man. It was such a fun book. How did that like conversation of like, hey, we're doing this team up thing, and Straczynski's going to write it? Did you get like contacted by the editor? How did that whole process come together?
The editor, Will Moss, reached out and said that they had this project that he thought I would be a good fit for. Will and I had worked years before when he was at DC, and when he mentioned that it was a Captain America gig, I had never drawn Captain America before.
Oh, really?
Outside of maybe some commissions. So it's interesting. One of my goals is one of my career goals always is to try to draw as many of these characters I grew up reading and loving. And when I was collecting comics, Die Hard, going to the comic book store and reading books, you lay it down flat on the table, in one hand flips the page, then you read the next. And so it was very intriguing. And then, I mentioned that J. Michael Straczynski is the writer. And, it was a one-shot. And I had like a little bit of time in between Blood Hunters and Power Man Timeless. And so we were able to work it into the schedule. So it was great. Yeah.
I will fully admit, Bernard, I'm a more recent fan of yours because I was reading the Blood Hunt event, and
let me talk to Eric then.
Okay, Eric, go ahead. I was reading all the like tie-ins for Blood Hunt, and I was like, oh my gosh, this Blood Hunters book is fucking badass. And that Dagger story that you did with Elsa Bloodstone and Erica Schultz, I believe, wrote that. It was my favorite part of the book. I absolutely loved that. And the way you drew Dagger was so awesome. Like, I just loved how you got to play around with her powers a little bit. But then that started kind of this, this not yet a deep dive, but I am getting there of going back through DC work and Marvel work. But then when I found out you were going to be on Captain America and Volstagg, I was like, well, this is going to be awesome. And you were in another interview of yours, you talked a lot about how you collaborate with people like a duo. You compare yourself to like a Stockton and a Malone, a Pippen and a Michael Jordan. And I'm curious, in that dynamic, who do you see yourself as? Are you the Stockton? Are you the Malone? Are you the Jordan? Are you the Pippen?
Well, I think I've always looked at a lot of this, comics. In comics, the artist sometimes gets swept aside a little bit.
Okay.
The majority, a lot of times when people do reviews or look at a comic book, they mention the writer. Sometimes they even forget to mention the artist. Comics is a visual medium. So, but it is a collaboration. So I really don't want to say one is more important than the other. Although I am slightly biased as an artist. But look, it's like a marriage. You need a husband and a wife to make things work, and one person balances out the other. To me, like the writer, when he writes a script, it's really like a game strategy. I don't want to go back to basketball. I do this a lot. I use the basketball as an analogy. The coach sets the strategies, the plays, how the team should, items that the team should focus on, who's playing at the moment. But the player has to go out on the court and execute. The player is the one that has to put the ball in the hoop and score the points and make the stop on defense. Without the player, it's really just a lot of strategy. So, but it's both. You need a good coach, you need good players. Sometimes you have a coaching system that has these plays like Princeton, where they have a lot of backdoor cuts or running off of screens. So maybe the player is not as athletic or not as athletic as maybe another team that has more athletic players, and the coaching system is a little bit more free flow. So working with J. Michael Straczynski, this is my first opportunity. He's a very well-renowned writer in the business. And when you work with different writers, everyone kind of has a different style of writing. I worked with Adam Glass before on Teen Titans. Just as a comparison, they both have histories as showrunners on TV shows. And Adam was very into the dialogue. When we were working on together, he would say, like, look, just keep all the dialogue the same, but, allowing me the freedom to kind of move certain panels around, certain scenes around. But as long as the character interactions remain the same, with on the Captain America Volstagg, I really didn't get to chat with J. Michael Straczynski much. Mainly because it was a one shot, as opposed to Teen Titans was a regular ongoing monthly. On these one shots, really, it's you're very isolated in a sense. But the script itself was so robust that just reading it, it was very easy to visualize, to kind of conceive a lot of the scenes. But then also there was a lot of freedom in there to kind of just maybe add a little bit every now and then, my own kind of storytelling sensibilities.
And I was just going to say there's a few different sort of like real comedy beats in this story that it sounds like would really, rely a lot on communication between the writer and the artist to be able to pull it off. Because, if you tell half of a joke with words and the other half depends on the visual to make that land. I mean, when this guy splats into the window like a bug, and when Volstagg's throwing his garbage off the side of the Rainbow Bridge, I mean, I was honestly just like cracking up at that stuff. But so you're telling me this wasn't a lot of back and forth. It was really just sort of a robust, well organized script, and that stuff comes through clear enough.
Yeah. I mean, in the script itself, I think there are times on certain projects I might add a little bit more than others. With this issue, let me see if I can find the script. I mean, I drew it last year sometime, like mid-year, so it's been a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we forget that all the time of production. We're like, oh, this just came out. Like you're like, that was the last year.
It's so
thing.
fresh.
Yeah. I mean, some comics, you're drawing it, and then a few weeks later, it's on the shelf. And then, but this one, I drew it quite a while ago, and it finally came out. I think, in part, there were so many of the other. I don't want to pan down on my desk; it's a mess. It's because there's many other parts to it. I think they wanted to all release it all at the same time.
Okay.
The scene where he's eating the picnic on the Rainbow Bridge, and he's he kind of just tosses it off the side of the Rainbow Bridge. It was hilarious. Reading it. Like at first I'm like, oh, is it? Do I want to add stuff where the litter drops into parts of Asgard, or it kind of floats into space, or so it was a real pleasure working with him on this, or collaborating with him on this, and there was just so much material in the story, in the script to work from. Even towards the end, when there's a scene with Benjamin Franklin.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
When Thor and the Warriors 2 show up at the end, there's a lot of opportunities to kind of play out each character's personality. So, yeah, I think it was a lot of fun.
You were not overly familiar with like doing Thor and the Warriors 3 and Asgard. So like what did you take anything into this book where you're like, hey, I've always wanted to do this with Thor, or this with Asgard, or something that you wanted to put your own, personal twist on?
This Thor version, he only appears, Thor himself doesn't appear very often in the story, mostly in the form of flashback sequences. So there was a lot of actually reference material, that the editors provided for me, because some of the stories go back to the Kirby days. And so, I don't have those books. I wish I did. It could retire. But so they had to pull up different things, and I had to scour the internet to look up other reference points. But I used to love Thor, but I wasn't a heavy collector of Thor. There was a period of time where I was reading Thor when Walter Simonson was drawing it, and you have the frog and the horse, and the name escapes me right now, but I just remember my one main memory about Thor was in junior high. I was auditioning to get into an art high school in Miami, and during the audition, we had to sit there in front of they brought in like 20, 30 students on a Saturday, and we had to do these drawing tests. And, there's a still life in front of us. And during the break, like a 15-minute break, I started pulling out my sketchbook, and I was drawing Thor. And this kid sitting next to me was like, oh, looking over my shoulder, and he's like, oh, are you a fan of Thor? I'm like, yeah, Thor's cool. I really love Walter Simonson. And he was like, oh, no shit. I love Walter too. And we, struck up an instant friendship. And, this kid sitting next to me was John Paul Leon. And, we quickly became best friends in high school. So, John Paul passed away a couple years ago, but, was another very well-noted comic book artist. And, I just remember as a kid, these comics wasn't as popular back then. It was very niche crowd. The comic book kids would sit together during lunchtime and kind of have a water cooler talk about what books they were reading and, what's going on in kind of their corner of comic book collecting. And then that's how really you get to share or learn about new characters that, you might not have ventured towards.
One character that you got to put a twist on in this book was Cap. When Steve Rogers goes to Asgard, this design of his costume is so awesome. Is that all you, or is that like something that JMS was dictating? How did that like redesign of his I guess what some people on the internet are calling the Captain Asgard costume is, because it's a fantastic look.
Thanks. I think in the script it was mostly me. The story was just that Captain America takes a beat to change into an Asgardian armor. I interpreted that as, he's kind of on this mission where, during World War II, when the U.S. Air Force called for volunteer members to fly for the Flying Tigers for the Republic of China versus Japan, they had to take off the U.S. Air Force logo from their uniforms and from the planes because it was kind of like the U.S. wasn't technically in the war at that time. And so this was pre-1941, like 1930, late 1930s, early 1940. And they also have these bomber jackets where, you saw like in Top Gun, Tom Cruise had that bomber jacket with the Republic of China flag with some Chinese writing on it. In case they crashed, locals could read that and say, this is a fellow ally. Please help them get to a base or something. So I was thinking about that in terms of like, well, Cap, if he's going to look for a local kind of like Asgardian armor, what would that look like without it being a Captain America armor, specific? But they still had like eagle motifs, wings on the shoulder.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of so the straps were more like representative of his stripes on his uniform, and so something that he gravitated towards. I thought initially I was also contemplating chainmail to reflect, his. But chainmail is just it's a pain in the ass to draw. And so at the end, I mean, on my Instagram, I posted some concept sketches that I had initially done before I started drawing the pages. But when I got to the final page, I was like, okay, let's just open arms and open legs. No chainmail.
I mean, I got to imagine the Captain America fish scales are bad enough. You don't want to be doing that in the Asgardian armor as well.
Yeah, because the fish scale, I mean, once it warps around, it keeping the size consistency is one thing. And then as it warps around the arm and the chest or the legs, you get to certain key points, like in the armpits or the knees, where the bend is, if you ever see like these cosplayers in real life, there are parts of the armor that are not there in order for them to kind of move. Mm-hmm. So how, as a comic book artist, I'm always asking myself, how realistic do I need to draw that? And how much can I just kind of fib?
Speaking of like things that you put up on your Instagram, you did like a process video of the big double page battle spread, which in that image you give Cap an awesome Thor-esque hammer, which was kind of a fun little like, it wasn't like directly like called it like, oh, and here Cap gets a hammer, but Volstagg's assistant needs a weapon if he's gonna fight this battle. And I love that whole double page spread. It was probably my favorite page of the entire book. Was there like details about these like fights in this world that I don't know, like you just wanted to make sure you got right with doing Volstagg and Cap and this battle story?
I think it's the story itself really is about Volstagg. And, Cap kind of becomes the sidekick in this. Which is the part of the twist of the story itself. So really wanted to make him appear more valiant, more kind of the main key guy. I just remember when I was drawing it, every time I was drawing Volstagg, I was smiling because when you're drawing, you kind of mimic the faces or the emotions that are happening. And he's just kind of like this jolly good guy. He's just like a really happy guy. And then I would think at this moment, if I was Volstagg, really getting to play the hero the primary guy, charging into battle, the adrenaline that he would be going through and laying out the page itself. That was really the primary focus. Let me see if I can find this. I pulled up the digital version of the script.
Awesome.
Let's see if I find that for you. Became Sith at the heart of it, leading the others on, never backing off. So that's the description for 2122. It's one sentence.
That double page spread we're referring to, that was the direction for it.
Yeah, so page 2122, double page spread of the massive war as it goes back and forth. Brutal, bloody, but with Steve, Volstagg, and Sith at the heart of it, leading the others on, never backing off. Caption: Trigonian historians would later right, second caption, and upon that day, the turn for 3 cycles, the enemy crashed upon their defenses like waves upon a rock. Third caption, their bases are destroyed. Fourth caption is desistant. Fifth, at the dawn of the 5th cycle, the ships departed for the stars. Sixth, but not before great tragedy struck. And then a caption, where is Volstagg? And then we jump to page 23. So that's the description for, that double page spread. Thought one big action sequence of the guys, of our heroes charging into battle to kind of cross over the 2 pages, and then the other beats below were to kind of match the caption that he's written. And, part of it was, I think, they had to attack one of the airships at some point because the ships were being thrown down from the caption. And then I thought we needed a close up of the enemy alien, just to show them kind of in battle. And then the last panel, I think, leads to the next page.
Yeah, because then we get the beat in the story where Volstagg disappears to give this impression that he has sacrificed himself for this alien civilization. Then we get to see a big statue of him at the end. Like this, we talked about this in our deeper review of the issue, which if people haven't heard, you can go back just in the main feed a few episodes and it's right there. But this issue really reframes Volstagg as this hero for this planet. He's their version of Thor. He is their God, their savior, their champion, all that, and they make this big statue of him at the end, which as a really big Volstagg fan, this issue was just fan service to the nth degree. It was awesome to see him really take the front. The one other thing I wanted to talk about, Bernard, is that final splash page. It's so badass. It's very for me. It looks like a simple thing, but it's just it's such an epic way to end this issue of Steve driving a motorcycle onto the Rainbow Bridge. It seems like a randomized prompt that you're okay, cool. I'll do a motorcycle on the Rainbow Bridge.
Now, Bernard, sorry. I was just going to ask a quick question. I thought I saw a pencil sketch of this image. So are you doing some of these in physical medium and some of them are digital, or are these all digital?
Some of the pages I drew traditionally, pencil, ink on paper. And then some of the pages I drew digitally, like the double page spread. I was traveling overseas at the time. And so it's a little bit faster nowadays to draw digitally. But you lose out on having a physical copy. That last page of Captain America writing on the Rainbow Bridge, I actually drew that page twice. Oh. I had drawn it once, scanned it in, and sent it into the Marvel headquarters. And then a week or so went by, and I looked at it again. And I was like, this is not good enough. So I ended up redrawing it again a second time to get the right angle and the right kind of perspective on everything. Both of them are fairly similar, but sometimes because the book, we were so far ahead in the schedule, allowed me to kind of look back and almost every single issue I draw, there's stuff that I want to redraw. You come up with a different idea later on. You're like, oh, I could have, thought about this pose or this angle. And luckily there was enough time on this one. I actually ended up redrawing 2 pages. Okay. The last page where Captain America is writing off, just kind of tilting the angle slightly. I really thought the first version, he was a little bit too stiff. I don't want to show it. You don't want to show your bad work. And then the other page I redrew was, what page is that? 14, where the Warriors 3 and Thor the first intro to them, and then the intro to Thor and the Warriors 3.
Okay.
It was really the top panel where they're kind of heroically standing on a edge of a cliff or something. The initial page I drew was kind of a bird's eye view looking down, with Thor, his hammer, kind of coming up at us. But then I thought, well, it's a little bit too much on Thor. I want to make everybody feel almost the same size. I mean, all the same size, so that gives them equal footing, equal billing. So I ended up redrawing it.
Awesome. I mean, it came out fantastic. And I love the little headshots you give of them at the bottom. It really all their personalities come out so clearly. And I love Fandral giving the smolder, Eric. That's one of my favorites. Bernard, is there anything else that you may want Thor readers specifically? That's kind of our audience we cater to know about this book. Because I really want to ask you just a little bit about what you're doing more currently, the Power Man Timeless series. But is there anything else to say about this one-shot adventure with Volstagg in Asgard?
I always wondered what a meal on Asgard would look like.
Okay.
And what having a meal or a picnic with Volstagg would, what would be the items that he would have? That was kind of one of my favorite things to draw, different, these quiet moments that happen. There's so much in comics. There's all these fight sequences, and they're fun and everything. But I really enjoy a lot of these little character things, especially when he's sitting down in the chamber with Cap, and they're eating, and he has this big banquet, and there's all these things. I just hope the readers get the sense of the fun that I had in tackling Asgard from kind of this perspective, almost a everyday life type scenario, and then their camaraderie together. There was a little bit difficult in times because there's so many different versions of Asgard.
True.
Too.
Yeah.
So much of this issue harkens back to Kirby era, adventure. But then you have now the movies, and so which one do I, as an artist, kind of depict, and then which one do you, as a reader or fan, associate more with, or the architecture, in the Kirby books, was a little bit more simpler. But if you look towards the movies, it's very ornate. It's very decorative.
Yeah,
there are a lot of immense details in the architecture, and the trimming and the molding. And so, what do you guys like? As major Thor fans or Asgardian fans.
I mean, personally, Eric, I'll just say my 2 cents and get out of the way. But you mentioned earlier Simonson. Simonson's version of Asgard was a lot of what we would probably consider traditional Viking architecture. A lot of thatched roofs, a lot of wood, a lot of that kind of design with these high roofs and then straw and all that stuff. But yeah, you're right. Kirby is this futuristic, very spacey feel. I guess personally, I love the Simonson approach to Asgard because it feels more historically grounded. But then there's times where I read Kirby, I'm just wow, his mind must have just been insane coming up with all these different designs for buildings that make no structural sense. But they're just a lot of fun to look at. What about you, Eric? That's such a great question.
I think it's really just sort of a vibe. I think that, you know it when you see it. It feels regal and fantastical and different. It has to be otherworldly enough, but it also, and I think, Bernard, like what you were saying, some of these opportunities really to draw not the epic invasion, but just a dinner table. What would that look like? What are the kinds of glasses that they drink out of? All of those things are choices that you have to make. And that just fills in and helps to flesh out the world to make it feel like it's really lived in. So I think it's fun, seeing how, you get to put your own sort of spin on it, and it all just sort of comes down to a vibe. Like, does it feel like Asgard? Yeah, it feels like it's Asgard.
Yeah, I mean that was a big challenge, right? Like because I don't get to play in Asgard that often.
Yeah.
We had like 30 some odd pages to as the real estate for this kind of playpen. And the other aspect is like drawing comics. You get every project, you get like a reference pack from the editors, and it's always like hopefully this stuff gets passed on to the next person that does a Asgardian or Thor story, or a story that involves Volstagg. That they get to see some images from this story. It's like passing the baton on to the next artist. To me, that's something that's kind of cool, but it's yet to be determined how much of this gets carried on later on in the future.
We hope, as we said in our review, this almost feels like Volstagg essential reading now, because we go back and we learn so much about him. And I'm sure if Volstagg ever comes up in a major way again, Will Moss will be right there with a copy of Captain America and Volstagg #1 to hand to them, and be like, "Hey, here, go to class and look at what Bernard did with Asgard." Just real briefly, as we get towards the end of our conversation, you are currently working on Power Man Timeless with Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly. It's a fantastically fun book. I heard Jackson Lansing refer to it as Dragon Ball Z, like some Dragon Ball Z fights in space, and that's such a fitting description of a lot of this book. It's big space battles in the solar system, planets being destroyed. Luke Cage has every power imaginable now. He is truly Power Man. This book, what would you like fans to know about what you're currently doing, this project that you're working on right now?
Power Man Timeless, this miniseries, I'm having a tremendous amount of fun with it. Colin and Jackson have written a really exploratory script that's kind of way out there. Yeah. And it's a space opera. It's a one-on-one kind of slug 'em fest, but there's a twist. At the end of issue 2, they land on Mars, which is Araco. So there's stuff in issue 3 where I don't know, when is this coming out? I don't know.
It'll be coming out just a few days from now, so okay. Give people a chance to read it first.
Yeah, so I can't talk about 3, but 3 is amazing. I had a ton of fun. I get to work with my brother Marcello Maiolo.
Yeah, I want to talk about him too.
Colorist. Yeah, and Marcello and I have collaborated together since our Demon Knight days. So that kind of the Demon Knights, back at DC, was a what would you call that era?
Was that New 52?
New 52, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was Etrigan, Jason Blood, and I can never pronounce the Amazonian name, Exorisis. And Vandal Savage. It was a fun group, like a team book. But it's kind of set in a similar genre as Thor and Vikings and that kind of Game of Thrones era. And so Marcello is amazing. I mean, if he really punches up my line art and takes it to the next level. So there's just so many things that he adds to the work that is, he is, if not one of the best colorists out there in the industry today. So I love the guy.
With talking about collaborations, getting to work with him for so long, is it one of those things where you guys together get a project, or when you get a project is hey, my stuff looks better when he's coloring it? How does that whole dynamic work?
Yeah, a lot of that is just if it's new colorists, I have to be or someone I haven't worked with before. This phone. What? Sorry, I can't get to the phone. It's like on the other side of the studio. It's probably some spam caller. Where was I? Oh, so, with Marcello, since we've worked together for so long, he really kind of understands what I'm doing, or what I want. And we'll chat, we'll text.
Yeah.
And every now and then, I mean, it's always great to have that open line of communication. With Power Man, it's a little bit harkening back to our Green Lantern days.
Okay.
And, because of the space component. And but a lot of it is just Marcello and I, we just kind of have a simpatico. Somebody, I'm sure you and Eric, you guys have been podcasting together. You can fill in each other's sentences by now. And
we do try.
He kind of does that. And so he kind of does that for me in terms of the art. Sometimes there'll be things as I'm drawing, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to leave this a little bit more open because I want Marcello to have a little bit of fun here, and really punch it up with the color, as opposed to being too heavy burdened with kind of inks. And, so, and then other times he'll like take my inks and then do a whole other thing, kind of go with a counter color scheme. And, I get the pages back. And he's like, what do you think about this? He'll give me like 1, 2, or 3 versions. And I'm like, oh, well, God, they're all good. I mean,
an embarrassment.
I don't want to sound, I also don't want to sound clueless. I'm just like, okay, well, all right. I got to justify. And I'm like, Marcello, just, do what you want. I trust you, man. It's, so comics is a lot about collaboration. I mean, it's, you're working with the writer, you're working with the colorist, you're working with the editor. You're trying to cook up a meal that is going to satisfy and want people to come back for more. It's I think I've been very fortunate to have been able to work with so many talented creatives over the years that have also just share the same passion for these characters in comics.
Bernard, and now yeah, go ahead, Eric. I was going to say we're going to jump into the Thunder round so we can get Mr. Bernard out of here. And Eric, you got anything else to say about Power Man or Thor before we do the Thunder round?
Oh, not to go down a whole other rabbit hole, but I was just going to say I'd imagine now with the digital art having the layers, the colorist really has a lot more flexibility to really kind of get in there and pick something apart, and that there could be even more collaboration. I don't know if, when you send something over, if there's effects on it, the effects or if they're in their own layer, then that really gives a lot more flexibility. It's not just, ink lines on a page at that point. There's so much more a colorist can do as a collaborator.
So the pages that I draw digitally, I'm drawing everything on different layers now. So I might draw one figure on one layer, the background, and there's a secondary background, and then there's another third, second or third line art layer of figures. And so if you look at the file, it's like a layered cake, and that just makes it easier for Marcello. So he doesn't have to like go in and lasso out a particular shape to kind of mask out. It's already easier for him. And then that way, if I make it easier for him, it might allow him to be a little bit more expressive or creative. So when you're working traditionally, again, you're just drawing on a flat paper, so everything's kind of. But usually too, when I draw traditionally, once it gets scanned in, I'll still spend another hour or so cleaning up things and redrawing stuff online, digitally. And so there is still kind of this additional layering component. And special effects, like in Power Man, there's when he's punching and he has the Iron Fist dragon form. The dragon itself I'll draw digitally, on a separate layer after everything's done. Even the pages that were drawn traditionally, that would be like a secondary stuff. So it's also easier for me to revise and correct. Every issue, I have to spend a little bit of time making patches because there's going to be some mistakes. And then I'll catch them the next day, or the editor will catch them. And then I'll have to redraw stuff. And then that's easier. I just redraw that section and then email it to Marcello. He's based in Brazil. So I got to know that 3 a.m. my time is his 9 a.m. And so I have to get stuff. If he's waiting for stuff, I got to get it to him early. And then around 2 or 3 in the afternoon for me, that's his going to sleep. So I can't, bother him after that.
Oh man, I love seeing behind the scene. That's just why we love talking to creators like yourself, is seeing what actually goes into making this book. And it's just so great. So Bernard, we have something called the Thunder Round that we do with our comic creator guests. It's something, it's called the Thunder Round because we used to call it the Lightning Round, but then Jason Aaron was like, "You're a Thor podcast. Why don't you call it the Thunder Round?" I was like, you know what? You're the All-Father. You get to call the shots. So it's just 5 simple get-to-know-you questions, and we just want to know what you think about them real quick. First question. I had to ask this because personally, I just am dying to know. Favorite NBA player and why?
Ooh. When I had to go back to it would be a toss-up between Grant Long and Keith Askins.
Okay.
Grant was one of the first Miami Heat players. I think it was the second or third one drafted. And he had a very long career. He was one of the leading rebounders. But if you ever saw Grant Long play, he was just relentless. And in his effort and, his determination, and also overall great guy,
Yeah.
And Keith came on a couple years after him. He was initially a defensive player, but then honed his skills to become a 3-point sharpshooter. His rookie season or his senior season at Alabama, he was starting early in the season, and then he went to the coach and they said, "I think we'll be a better team if I came off the bench." And so he kind of benched himself, became the 6th man.
Wow.
And sure enough, the team got better and had more wins. So, his senior season, he didn't even really, he was primarily a bench player.
Okay.
He made it into the NBA. When he came into the NBA, he was primarily a defensive player. They would put him on the other team's best scorer. But then in the off season, during the summer, the coaching staff was like, "You got to develop a 3-point shot, because otherwise on offense, you're going to be a liability." And so that summer, I got to actually spend working out with Keith and developing his 3-point shot. And the next year, he led the team in 3-point percentage. So,
and you were part of that.
Those two guys. Yeah, that was part of that. But I mean, more so about his character.
Yeah.
And his determination, also as a warrior, as a fearless player. It's those are qualities and characteristics that I really gravitate towards and admire. I mean, people will say players I guess Jordan or LeBron. Second year of the Heat, the NBA game was in Miami, so I actually got to. Well, in the first 2 years was Jordan, Bird. There's a picture of me on the bench with Jordan, Bird, Ewing, Isaiah, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. Yeah, so and I have a basketball at home signed by all those guys, which is the dream team, really.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, since you're the Miami Heat guy, and I live in the middle of the Midwest. I don't get to talk about pro basketball a ton, and you're you were in it. Who greatest Miami Heat player of all time? Who would you consider greatest?
I would say Dwayne Wade is probably the greatest Miami Heat player of all time. Watching him play, he had something about him that he would throw up a shot and it would just go in.
Yeah,
it was very similar to watching Jordan play, where he would throw up this incredibly difficult shot, get hit midair, and the ball would still go in. So there was just something magical. Yeah, something magical. Whereas you can watch another player, shoot the same shot, same form, but it just rim out. And so there was something about Dwayne that when he played, and he played again he played with a tremendous passion.
Yeah.
And you can just see his love. Yeah, his love for the game. It's when you watch players play and you really see that they really love doing what they're doing and really put, kind of their heart and soul into every single game, every night. Those are really characteristics to admire, even as professionals.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can see a player kind of just phoning it in, or maybe they've already got a huge contract and they're just getting their 18, 20 points, which is still difficult, 18, 20 points a game. But that's why also sometimes I like watching college, because, the college kids, they're just running around. This is their whole life. So,
they're proving themselves, man. Speaking of like passion for players, like as a Milwaukee Bucks fan, I get to watch Giannis all the time, and I love watching that guy play basketball. I'm like, okay, I am gonna go like attack the day. This is gonna be awesome. So, Bernard, second question on our Thunder round is your favorite like guilty pleasure snack. Like you're in the middle of a work day and you're just like, you need that bump. Like what are you grabbing?
Oh, I'm trying not to snack these days, but obviously my stomach, it gives away that I'm still snacking.
Same here, man.
I've been transitioning towards oranges now. The
nice.
Little mandarin oranges that you can you just peel and eat. It's a little bit easier. I don't eat potato chips.
Okay.
I have cravings for cookies, but I don't have cookies at home.
Eric, it feels like something you would be more.
Just don't even buy them in the first place. Yeah, then you.
When I go to the grocery store, I stand in front of the cookie, aisle or the Oreo display, and I'm like, oh, it's on sale, and it's like double stuff. It's like this Galaxy. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, oh, how delicious would this be in the middle of the night as I'm working? And then I'm like, okay, you just got to walk away. You can't, there's a squid snack that I'm eating that's a little bit healthier.
A squid snack?
Squid snack. Yeah, it's a Taiwanese dried squid, dried cuttlefish with black sesame seeds in it. It's very flavorful. It's a little salty and sweet.
Nice. Bernard, just
what do you guys like?
Well, I just feel like I need to out Eric a little bit. He is the only person I know who is works in fitness and has his own pizza account. he spends all day getting shredded and then has a pizza account on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
fantastic. Well, what's a pizza?
So me and my partner have a pizza blog where we eat pizza like 3 times a week. And so we're like, we should start like taking photos and blogging about it. So that's something we started doing during the pandemic, sort of just like trying different restaurants and stuff. But yeah, so we I think Ryan just gets a kick out of the juxtaposition that
I love it.
I working out is such a big part of my life, but so is pizza, and that they're really kind of equal in that sense.
Yeah, see, I never understood why pizza is so fattening. Is it? I mean, is it the cheese, or is it the bread, or is it the cheese and the bread, or is it the sauce, or? Because
when you get the right toppings on it, and it just turns into a grease sponge, I think it's the grease sponge effect that probably has the most calories. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing recently I've had I used to love TV pizza, frozen pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I go to the supermarket and they'll have like these sales, like, 2 for $10 or, but oh man. Yeah. And so in the middle of the night, you just like throw it in the toaster oven, heat one up, boom, but yeah, it's no good eating late at night. I mean, that's the thing is I work a lot overnight. Yeah, that's probably a huge contributor to weight gain. So,
Bernard, was that
Eric? I need some fitness advice. Yeah, I have a parrotlet, a small parrotlet.
Oh my god, unexpected. Flies by the camera.
Yeah, so I let him fly around the house freely during the day, and then when he eats, he's in a cage, and then when he sleeps, he's in the cage. But otherwise, you might have heard him chirping earlier. Although he's very quiet today, he's very well behaved.
I'm going to change my next Thunder Round question. Why birds, Bernard?
I used to always want a dog. Wanted a dog. My mom had a dog. But because I travel so much for conventions and shows, whatever, just gonna have a pet. But then my ex-wife, she really wanted. We went to a friend's house. They had these parrotlets. They're like miniature parrots. See if I can bring them over here. Wait, hold on a sec. Come here. Good boy.
Oh wow!
Oh my goodness.
That is a beautiful bird. Nice blue tail.
It's a blue tail, blue gray. His head is white, almost like a bald eagle. But he's the size of he's smaller than an iPhone.
Oh my gosh!
And he gets pretty loud. Yeah, he used to have a brother. So my ex-wife wanted pets. She wanted these birds. So got 2 birds. They're brothers. So we named them Beavis and Butthead.
Oh my god! That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but only Butthead is left now. Beavis has R.I.P. passed away a couple years ago.
Oh man!
But these guys. You never know how a creature this small can really have such a grasp on your heart. I used to think it should just be like dogs or cats, but the bird, they don't do much.
Yeah.
They eat, they poop. They poop some. But the great thing about these birds is that they don't have a large intestine. Or it's not a very large intestine. So when they eat, the food gets digested and it comes out fairly quickly, so it doesn't smell.
Fantastic. It probably makes your house a lot more desirable to be in.
I still have to clean up after him, and I have, he has certain spots that he lands that he likes to sit and poop. So then I have paper covering those areas. So that's the guy that I talk to when I'm complaining.
Just your favorite Butthead. Just your favorite Butthead. Bernard, last question in the Thunder Round. You referenced this earlier on in our chat that you kind of you're wanting to tackle characters that you haven't previously tackled. So who's on your hit list? Is there a number one that's on your list, or something like that you're just wanting to maybe do someday that's not a commission?
Well, Spider-Man, growing up watching Spider-Man, It's Amazing Friends. In terms of Marvel, Doctor Doom's really popular right now. But I've always thought that he's having a moment. Cool, yeah, he has a really cool outfit, uniform. Growing up, I used to collect X-Men heavily. Yeah. Wolverine was a cool character, although I'm not great at drawing masks.
Okay.
And it's just something weird about it, but Colossus I really liked.
Oh yeah.
And, because back then it was John X-Men, then it became Dave Cockrum, then the Paul Smith X-Men, that was when Storm went with the Morlocks. those few issues were like tremendous. I mean, he didn't draw that many issues, but I think he had such a huge impact on a particular title. With I don't know how many he drew, like was it 10 or 12? Not even.
Wait, was he the one that gave her the mohawk?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh God, yeah, that's an iconic.
And like Barry Windsor Smith drew Love, Death, Life, Death with Storm and Forge. That was an amazing issue. And then, John Romita Jr. Had a nice extensive run. I also used to love Alpha Flight.
Okay.
I don't know if they're around anymore these days, or even if they were, if it's not the same team,
Like I feel like they pop up every here and now, and then they get dusted off for like a mini here and there. After like doing some deep dive in like your Marvel stuff, I would love to see you do like Sasquatch and a shaman, those characters. That would be a lot of fun.
I mean, that one of my favorite issues of Alpha Flight was when Snowbird fought. It wasn't Sasquatch. It was a snow issue. I mean, it was
Wendigo.
He's probably Wendigo, right? It was probably the easiest issue that the artist drew because it was all snow, so it was just all
it's all white.
I mean, when I had an issue on Dr. Mirage for Valiant, early days, I was running behind on a deadline, and Bob Layden, who's the writer and my mentor, Bob was kind enough to write an issue where Dr. Mirage was at a ski resort, and there was a huge snowstorm. So a lot of pages were just, get to draw one figure and maybe some rocks and some trees, and that was it. I used to love Rom for some reason.
Rom, nice.
I don't remember why I liked Rom. I just remember I liked Rom. Like a month ago or so, I was in a comic book store and I saw Rom, and I was like, oh, wow, let me, thumbing through the whole issues bin, so I got found the first 12, 13 issues, sitting there on a side table. I want to read them, kind of remember why I loved Rom. I don't remember. Did you guys read Rom?
I know he was a licensed title for a while, but he just came back into kind of the Marvel thing. They're starting to put issues of his on Marvel Unlimited, and I've dipped in my toe there, but I can't say I have a long history with the character.
Yeah, I think it was like what is it, a fish out of water kind of. Again, I don't remember. I just remember I liked it. If I read it, I could totally hate it now. I don't know. I mean, there's things like, you used to love or watch when you were a kid, but then as an adult, you're like, it wasn't like that great. But, sometimes maybe I think I should just leave it in the memory banks as a positive thing.
Let the nostalgia kind of be what it is. Man, Bernard, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight, man. We really appreciate it. Is there anything like you want to point people in the direction of, like social media? We know you got Power Man Timeless coming out for a few more months since it's a limited series, but anything else we can tell people about for you?
I guess my Instagram, the Bernard Chang on Instagram. I also host a live drawing stream every Tuesday night on Twitch and YouTube. And the handle is the same, the Bernard Chang. And my old buddy Sean Chen and Jerry Ma jump on along with some guests, Fletch Chufong and Courtney Schwartz. And sometimes we have some other guest artists on. But usually we just spend a couple hours out drawing, and we'll just talk about whatever is the topic du jour of the comic books or whatever. So
okay, well, We'll link both of those in the episode description so people can check that out, man. Thank you for that. We really appreciate it. But yeah, everybody go check out Captain America and Volstagg #1. If you haven't, check out Bernard's version of Asgard and Thor and Volstagg, especially Volstagg. Go read Power Man Timeless. It's fantastic. First 2 issues are bonkers. If you love big Dragon Ball Z like fights, it's fantastic. But Eric, any other parting shots before we hop aboard the Rainbow Bridge and get out of here?
No, I'm good. I feel like I learned a lot. We got to meet Butthead, so you can't.
We got to meet Butthead, the Parrot.
Well, is Erica an IU fan or?
I was gonna hope you were not gonna ask that. Actually,
he told me not to do that.
I work for IU.
I should have asked that earlier. In the beginning of this podcast. That way, I could just ignore everything.
You blew my cover.
Well, everybody, we're going to hop aboard the Rainbow Bridge. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, whether you're helping out a friend on another far planet, you're helping save a civilization of alien people, or whether you've got the powers of the Sentry, you've got the powers of the Hulk, you've got the Iron Fist, and you're trying to fight off Aeon the Knife, just remember to do one thing, and that is to stay worthy.